Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
The Raiders now have multiple questions hanging over them, with Ashton Jeanty hurt and Fernando Mendoza pushing to be the starting quarterback. Also, Texas Tech got a late gift at QB, and one that was desperately needed. Plus, Notre Dame, are they ready to make a real push for a college football national championship? I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
The Raiders have two major preseason questions hanging over them, starting with Ashton Jeanty's injury status and Fernando Mendoza's push for the starting quarterback job. Locked On Raiders host Lincoln Kennedy and your boy Q, along with Chantel Chan, broke down how concerned Las Vegas should be about Jeanty, especially with Mike Washington Jr. cooking this preseason, and whether or not a good performance from Mendoza against the 49ers could keep real pressure on Kirk Cousins in the Raiders quarterback battle.
More news has come out about that, though, and Ian Rappaport said, and he reported actually earlier, saying that it's not a very serious injury. It's looking to be like a low ankle sprain, which, you know, the biggest question to that is, how long will that recovery take? Will he be ready for week one? But the good news is it doesn't sound as serious as everybody thought it would be when that injury happened. You know, the players gathered and they prayed for Ashton Jeanty. So, you know, there was a lot of speculation of what was going on. Let's go actually back to when the injury happened. Link, you were also there as well. Right. What were your thoughts when you first saw that go down?
Well, when I first saw it go down, it was just one of those uncomfortable situations, the ball on the ground and everybody's kind of reacting, which you expect. And then as I described the cue, I thought it was just an awkward fall. I couldn't really see what had happened per se, and it just came down to it. And then I was reminded of the injury my son had last year when he fell directly on the turf. It looked like he fell directly on top of his knee. He tore his PCL. Now, for me, that was a worst case scenario when I saw it happen. And that's what I was thinking and talking to Q. But you know, mum's the word when everything came out because the Raiders were all scrambling. Don't want anybody to report it. Don't want anybody to know. I didn't know because he couldn't put pressure on the leg. I didn't know if it was knee. I didn't know if it was anything else. But, you know, I'm thankful that it's considered an ankle sprain, and it's not a high ankle sprain, which is always difficult for running backs to get over because of the amount of cutting they need to do. So I guess in this instance, it's a best case scenario, just a sprained ankle. The great thing, and we'll talk about this more here as you assess it, the fact is they've got a number of time. He's not going to play. Right. You know, he's not going to play tomorrow. He's not going to, and they still have 2 weeks before the Miami game. So there's plenty of time to get treatment and get healed. I think he'll be fine. Yeah, it's a really great case scenario for the Raiders. I mean, because when we all left the building on Sunday, man, we all had the feeling like, oh, damn. Here we go again, right? It's always got to be something when it happens with the Raiders, right? And so the way that the team reacted, and that's what, I mean, I'm a big body language guy, and we were in the indoor facility when it happened, and so we're in the end zone. Normally when we're outside, we're able to walk the length of the sideline, but in this case, we're in the end zone, and of course it happened as far away from us as possible next to the weight room. And so all we saw through a mass amount of people, large human beings, is Ashton Jeanty, as small as he is, on the ground. And so all we could do is kind of look, and I started seeing reports, oh, man, it was his right knee. And I was like, I don't even know how you saw it was his knee. So I didn't want to go there and say what it was or speculate what it was. I just knew that it took him a while to get up. Once he did, he tried to put some weight on it. It didn't work. He had to get help off. And then all of a sudden they took another knee, prayed for him. And we thought, oh, man, just based off of the team's reaction, it wasn't good. Later to come to find out that night it was a ankle sprain and then a lower ankle sprain. So, yeah, great case scenario as far as I'm concerned. You know, Clint Kubiak was asked multiple times in about 18 different ways yesterday about it, and he just – I'm not going to speak on the injuries, but he's on the mend. So, you know, we'll see. You know, roster cutdowns comes up on Sunday. So are they going to short-term IR him? Is he going to be ready for, you know, the first quarter of the season, maybe in the first game? We don't know, but I think that, you know, the Raiders dodged a big one there when it comes to Ashton Jeanty and his injury.
Yeah, a little bit of good news because, you know, as you know, a high ankle sprain sometimes can be worse than a broken ankle. That's one of the toughest things to recover.
Marion Hampton had one last year, right? And that was bad for him. So, yeah, that stinks. So that's really a good case for Ashton Jeanty.
And I was watching the presser with Clint Kubiak, and I swear he's someone that you could probably tell your biggest secret to, because he's not going to tell nothing.
No.
Like, he's extremely tight-lipped, and that is a reporter's worst nightmare. But I think for Clint Kubiak, he's just all about football. So I thought that was really funny, just watching him being asked the same question like 20 times, but giving the same answer, not really giving much. But I'll say this, in terms of Ashton Jeanty, so I think we all believe he's probably not going to play in that game against the 49ers tomorrow.
Oh, he's not going to play.
No, there's not a chance.
It's not probably.
No.
And so with that being said, do you think he'll be ready for that week 1 game against Miami? Because that's still 2 weeks away, Link.
Yeah, I do. I think he'll be fine. And I think the amount of rest and the treatment that he's going to get up until that point, even before we get to Labor Day, I think he'll be back out there running to some extent. The way I see it, and I know that he couldn't put weight on the injury when it happened. That's to be expected. That's why, for me, the speculation was, is this a knee? Is this a high ankle sprain? Or is that something that could take much longer? Because the chances if you tear a PCL, you're probably out for after the season.
Yeah.
So that's when the IR comes into view. And even a high ankle sprain for running backs, as we talked about, are hard to heal from. So, difficult to heal from. So the thing is, I think he'll be ready by Miami. I'm not doubting in any way that he'll be ready by Miami.
Yeah, I'm not doubting it. We'll wait and see, take that approach. Obviously, the injury report doesn't have to come out until, the week of the game, so they have some time. That's why Clint Kubiak is not required to say anything, right? When he's asked about the injury, he doesn't have to say anything, just he's on the mend. And again, just the way that he even responded without saying a whole lot just made me feel encouraged about the severity of the injury, and knowing that they have Mike Washington Jr. Obviously, he'll be ready and up to speed to get ready to go for whatever workload he has to do. But knowing that they have a guy that's a very talented back is also a positive. But I think Jeanty is going to be just fine. I think he's questionable for Miami, but that's a couple weeks away, so we'll know sooner rather than later.
Stay up to date all year on the Las Vegas Raiders by subscribing to Locked On Raiders on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. You're Locked On Sports today. Coming up, Texas Tech got a little gift right before their season starts. Before we get to that, the NFL has drawn a line in the sand with this NIL business. Baseball fans, if you think you know who's hitting a homer today, FanDuel is giving you a free chance to call your shot with daily dingers. It's easy to play. Just make your free pick for who you think will hit a home run in their game. If you're right, you'll receive a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. Best of all, you can make a free pick every day throughout the Major League Baseball season. Daily Dingers is another fun way to stay engaged with every day's games, whether you're following your favorite team or keeping an eye on matchups across the league. Every game has someone capable of going deep. Now you get the chance to make your prediction before first pitch. There are certain players where every at-bat feels like something big could happen. That's what makes Daily Dingers fun. You get the chance to back the player you think is ready to go deep that day. So are you ready to play your game today? Join all the action at FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com to play Daily Dingers and make your free picks on who's hitting a homer. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of Major League Baseball. The NFL has now drawn its own line in the college football eligibility sand. The league informed teams Wednesday that any player who leaves the NFL to return to college will be prohibited from signing with an NFL team again this season. Players who are cut can still choose to go back to school, but once they do, their NFL season is over. That matters now because former Browns tight end Daquan Wright and former Saints defensive lineman Xavier Harris have already left NFL teams to reunite with Lane Kiffin at LSU after receiving another year of eligibility through a court order. Players can try and go from the NFL back to college for now, and now they don't have the option to change their minds a few weeks later. Over in the NBA, free agent Jonathan Kuminga had offers from the Lakers, Bulls, and the Trailblazers. He eventually decided to sign a 2-year, $13 million deal with the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I know he's not huge, but again, athletic, long arms. And then also in transition. And Kuminga traditionally hasn't played super fast, but you look at some of the teams he's played on and the roles he's had. The speed and athleticism of this Wolves lineup, and think about a small ball lineup with Kuminga on the floor and maybe Ayo's on the floor, maybe TJ Shannon's on the floor, and some combination of those guys plus Ant and LaMelo Ball and with Gobert off the floor. I mean, think about how fast that team would be able to play, how fast that 5-man unit would be able to play. adding this jolt of athleticism to the roster is going to be huge for the Wolves.
Over on the Diamond, the Braves were on a little bit of a skid, but they gave the Dodgers everything they could handle during exciting Game 2 in Atlanta.
It's a walk-off hit for Ha-Sung Kim. Absolutely unbelievable. No way you could have predicted this in what might be the craziest game of the year for the Atlanta Braves. They walk off the Dodgers 6-5 in the bottom of the 9th inning. It's Ha-Sung Kim that gets it done. He hasn't had an at-bat in 11 days. He's batting 060 something. And he comes through. He gets ahead 3-0 against Tanner Scott, fouls off a couple of fastballs. That's all they were going to throw him. And Ha-Sung Kim finally timed one up, put it into left field, and Lane Thomas able to easily score from second base for the walk-off win. This game was insane. The Braves got out of a couple of bases loaded jams that the Dodgers had. Braves had a great chance themselves in the bottom of the 8th. They had a second and third, nobody out, but weren't able to score after a very fortunate kick off of Mookie Betts' glove to turn a double play, but they come right back at the bottom of the 9th to win it. Some clutch outs late from Didier Fuentes, Maderos as well. Just a crazy, insane game. We'll talk more about this over on the postcast on Locked On Braves.
And Kyle Schwarber, who hit his Major League Baseball leading 40th home run on Wednesday, tied a Phillies record for the most 40-plus homer seasons, matching former first baseman Ryan Howard.
You're going to be talking about the Philadelphia Phillies not getting swept. You're going to talk about Jesus Luzardo coming in to save the day. You're going to be talking about Kyle Schwarber's 40th home run. And you're also going to be talking about some spectacular defense by the Phillies in tonight's, this afternoon's ball game. Bryce Harper made a play in the first inning that looked a lot better live and in action. And then when he saw the replay, he went, oh, okay. Like he leapt. You know, he jumped at the wall to catch it. He didn't have to, I don't think. It wouldn't have been a home run. It's a good play. He went back on it. For a guy that is just now getting reacclimated to right field, he didn't just like run to the warning track and then go, oh, darn, and then drop back like playing a ricochet. He went up to the wall, made the play. Good job, Bryce Harper.
Texas Tech may have found a late gifted quarterback with transfer Thomas Castellanos, giving the Red Raiders a new layer of intrigue right before the season begins. Locked On Texas Tech host Casey Cowens and Chris Level explain why Castellanos' arrival completely changes the quarterback picture in Lubbock and how big a boost this could be for the Red Raiders trying to make noise in the college football playoff.
Thomas Castellanos, formerly of Florida State, now a Red Raider quarterback, interested in some football angle on this edition, Chris, and what this means for the Red Raiders, why we've liked it. I feel like I've heard you describe this almost in sort of answered prayer terms in some recent conversations we've had about this possibility. So tell me about how this edition fits in, what it means. Why do we like it so much for this Red Raider squad this fall?
Yeah, this is going to be like back-to-back years where you essentially brought in a backup or QB depth off the street. You know, Mitch Griffiths was like doing whatever he was doing a year ago, and
raising a barn, I think.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And now Thomas Castellanos, and obviously people understand this because of Hammond's injury, the Sorsby thing, all of this plays into this, but this is an all-in move, man. Like you're not here trying to let's just see how far we can take it, guys. Like you're trying to, this is a chips all in the middle of the table move. Again, these moves are not inexpensive. I think from the time that he was seeking another year, this is, I think, James Blanchard and company going, so wants to play a little ball still, does he? And you've got maybe some money left over that was going to be allocated to Brendan Sorsby that you're not paying him. Ain't nobody saving it around here. If we can find the right person to spend it on and to help us sleep better at night and to give us some depth at the most important position on the team, then again, and everybody around here has got PTSD from all the QB issues that you've had. I always reference this, but like the game in Provo a few years ago, when you go up there with an 18-year-old true freshman and there's a receiver that's backing him up, that's all you took on the trip. That's all you had. If it gets any further than that, you're going to a different skill player and go, just take snaps and run around, man. I mean, but this is where you were at. And last year, again, in Morgantown, West Virginia, your quarterback is injured. He's far less than 100%. You're blowing West Virginia out. You put him out, pull him out, put him on ice. You got a Big 12 title game to get ready for. And then you put in the aforementioned Mitch Griffiths. He gets, hit hard, and he comes up, and you're like, I mean, they're going to have to put Barron back in. But no, you go tap your, Lloyd Jones but that's all that they had. That's all that they took up there. You've got bodies here, but you can't tell me that a 4-year starter at the Power 4 level isn't of interest to you, especially when he offers up a skill set that is very unique. I mean, this kid ran for over 1,100 yards at the QB position 2 or 3 years ago. He had 600 plus yards a year ago, ran for 9 touchdowns. He beat Bama. So you want to get cute with it and come up with a package with him with some design runs. This is what he does. Maybe we never see him, and I'm okay with that too. That means that you're rolling with Mr. Hammond, and that's okay too. But
that was the second part of my question, Chris. How do we actually hope this guy would factor in? Is it the option that we sort of hope he doesn't? You don't have to pull that rip cord, or is there the kind of dual angle of him being a QB that maybe we hope to see factored in a little bit?
Stay up to date all year on the Texas Tech Red Raiders by subscribing to Locked On Texas Tech on your favorite podcast app. Coming up, Notre Dame might actually be ready for a run at a national championship. College football playoff race is already loaded with bold predictions, and Notre Dame may be the team getting the loudest early championship push. Fire TV's college football kickoff crew, Isaac Shade, Kenyon Barner, and Jesse Holly, believe Marcus Freeman's Irish could be billed for a real run after major portal investment, but could surprise contenders like Miami and Indiana crash a playoff race full of heavyweights.
It's time for our first playoff playbook. I want to get all of our semifinal picks and a national champion. We got to plant our flags right here on show number 1. Let's start over here with Kenyon Barner. KB, who are your Final Four teams for this season?
Listen, I'm going to jump this thing right off with Notre Dame and the Fighting Irish simply because CJ Carr and Marcus Freeman. Advancement in the second year of him being in that system, CJ, go get the job done. Next up, Georgia Bulldogs. This team is historically built for December and January. No other reason. Stay right there. Then I'm going to the OHIO. Listen, they have the greatest, one of the best 1-2 combinations in quarterback receiver in Jeremiah Smith and Julian Sand, and then you throw at Chris Henry Jr. That could be absolutely scary. And then finally, I'm staying right there with the Oregon Ducks, baby. Arguably one of the best defensive lines in the country. They finally have a defense that I believe that can go out and win a game and not need the offense to do much on that side of the ball.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to stay right there with you, the Oregon Ducks. Of course, Dante Moore, their quarterback, 14 of their 22 starters are returning, most of them on the defense side of the ball. That's going to be key. I also have the Ohio State Buckeyes. I believe in Julian Sand. I think Jeremiah Smith is the absolute best player in college football. That dude is a man-child, and I cannot wait to see him play. I want to see what Matt Patricia can do on defense after having all those guys, Sonny Styles and Reese and Caleb Downs all being drafted. I'm also going to go to Texas. I think it's time for Texas to be in that conversation. Okay. I'm looking at you, Sark, and I'm looking at you, Arch. Yes. Get the damn thing done, all right? And then lastly, for me, Notre Dame. I think Marcus Freeman, what he's done, number 9 in the portal this year for Notre Dame, $50 million they have spent on their roster this year. One of the top teams in the country on spending on a roster.
Here's a $10 bill from my wife for picking Texas. You just made Mr. Shade very happy, Jesse.
I got you, Mr. Shade. I got you.
Hey, for my Final Four, I got Notre Dame. I got Oregon. Miami. I'm going to slide the Canes in there. The U, let's get it. And IU. I'm going to keep rocking with it until they prove me otherwise. That's my Final Four. I'm going with Notre Dame as our national champion, though. Give me the Irish to take it all home when it's all said and done.
And finally, the NFL is officially getting rid of the Pro Bowl games. Beginning this season, 88 players will still earn Pro Bowl honors, but there will be no AFC versus NFC game, no flag football, and no replacement selections for players who opt out. Praise be. Instead, the league will bring the selected players to Los Angeles for an in-person celebration and put more emphasis on the honor itself. NFL officials say players made it clear they still value being named to a Pro Bowl. They just are not particularly interested in playing another game after the season. The best way to fix the game is apparently to stop playing it. Yeah, duh. Coming up, Tua Tagovailoa returns to Miami in a Falcons uniform with one final preseason chance to strengthen his case for Atlanta's starting job. So at least until tomorrow, stay locked on sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.